Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Prim and Proper Sports. I'm your host, Sonja. Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is our last Wednesday of January already, guys. Shout out to Pink Fanfur, the realest real creator out there. Thank you so much for the promos behind the scene, and also shout out to Bistrilla, the amazing producer extraordinaire. And thanks to all the platforms that are allowing me to live stream on tonight. Next Wednesday is my birthday, so I'm taking it off, but I'm here with you guys tonight. And y'all, I know I said last week we'd be delving into the NBA, but y'all, the NFL news will not stop despite us being on the cusp of the Super Bowl between the New England Patriots, go figure, and the Seattle Seahawks. We got a lot of coaching stuff to talk about. We also have a lot of Hall of Fame. We talking about the players of the season, all those outstanding guys that you saw on field, and some of those who we used to see who are now being honored in different and various ways. So come on in and say hi. It's just me tonight. And so I hope that everyone is doing well. And I will address your comments as I see them. Let me just make sure I don't miss anything here. It's been so long since I ran the board solo. But anyway, the big news, guys, I guess it's the big news. I don't know. You guys consider the Browns big news? The Cleveland Browns, you guys, they actually decided to hire Todd Monken as their head coach. So Kevin Stefanski, of course, to the Atlanta Falcons, and Todd is hired. The former offensive coordinator for the Ravens is going to the rival, the Cleveland Browns, taking Kevin Stefanski's place. That's per ESPN. The Buffalo Bills are in the process of finalizing their financial deal with promoting the offensive coordinator Joe Brady up as their head coach after they axed Sean McDermott. I'm still kind of like not over that, guys, but he was already there in the locker room. They interviewed a lot of guys, but they realized that their person that they wanted was right there in the locker room. And so he is being promoted from OC to HC. So kudos to Joe Brady. The Tennessee Titans, y'all remember, before I start running through all these, I know some of us only really follow our team, but there was literally over a third of the teams that needed coaches. They ended up being 10 head coaching vacancies before the season was over with, including the termination of Dayball from the Giants earlier in the season, and the Titans, of course. So when you look at it like that, y'all, there was a lot of job vacancies. And what's up to the 1 8 cheek 3 toes? Thank you so much. I was just giving you a shout out, B, if that's you, or if it's Nate, or if it's Jay. What's up to you guys? And hello to Liz too. She's always on their platform. I hope you all are doing well tonight. Thank you so much for joining. And please share. Sharing is caring. All right, guys. So anyway, that's why I'm going through these coaching hires first. So some fans are not really excited about the new coaching hires because some of them were a downgrade. Let's be honest about this. All right. So moving along, the Tennessee Titans, who I was starting to tell you guys about, they are planning to hire the former Giants head coach. I just spoke about him. Brian Daboll is in the final process of being hired as their offensive coordinator, pending the Raiders head coaching decision. So he's got his, as they say, his irons in two fires right now. So whichever one offers him, I'm sure the most money is where he's going to go. But both of those franchises, he's going to have his work cut out for him. If he goes to Las Vegas, where Pete Carroll was sent home with his gum, or if he goes to the Titans, it's just so weird. He's going to be their head coach. He was the Giants head coach. Let's see. He's planning to hire the former Giants head coach. No, they're going to just hire him as the OC. That's what I thought. I read that the first, and I was just like, wait a minute, wait, what? So he would just be a head coach for the Raiders. He would be an offensive coordinator if he actually was with the Titans. So, all right, moving along. The Washington Commanders are finalizing a deal for the Vikings DB coach, Durante Jones, to be their DC. You guys know, even though they still have Dan Quinn as their head coach, they had their DC and OC were just like, hey, we want to pursue other stuff. We're out. So they needed that. And so they are actually talking to him now. It's a lot of moving pieces. And then the Jets have parted ways with their offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrand. And so now they're looking for a new offensive coordinator. So just when you think the firings are done, they are not. Okay, B, I got you. Say it was me on the other account. What's up, B? Good. How about the Titans? Yeah, yeah. If the Raiders don't flock in and secure that, that contract with him first, because if he goes to the Titans, he's just the OC. If he goes to the Raiders, he's the HC. So I don't know. I guess it comes down to money, but which would you rather be, a head coach or the offensive coordinator? I guess it just depends on who has the most power or whatever. But anyway, and you guys know that Mike Tomlin stepped down from Pittsburgh, leaving a vacancy there, and they hired none other than the introduction of Mike McCarthy as their new head coach. And they are now looking for an offensive coordinator because their offensive coordinator also left in some form or fashion in Pittsburgh. This literally provides an interesting point here, guys. So Aaron Rodgers was basically saying, I know I'm out, blah, blah, blah. Once he saw, that the season went the way it was, and then Mike Tomlin, of course, stepping down, he was just like, hey, I'm out. And let's be clear, Aaron is really probably, I don't want to say really improbable, but I'm pretty certain when he retires, he's going to retire a Packer anyway. He's not going to retire a Steeler. He's not going to retire a Jet. He's going to go back and retire a Packer. The interesting part is by Mike McCarthy, who was his head coach in Green Bay, coming to Pittsburgh. There are a lot of suggestions out there that he may not hang up his cleats after all, because now he wants to, solidify his relationship with McCarthy. Now, you guys will remember Mike McCarthy lost his job in Green Bay because of Aaron. In fact, he was terminated on Aaron's birthday. And then Mike McCarthy got the head coaching job in Dallas. That he was there for a little bit. Aaron went on, left Green Bay and went to New York, New Jersey Jets. And now he is in Pittsburgh. And he basically said, hey, we mended fences. Me and Mike talk at least once a week. And so now everybody's like, okay, prove it. If you guys really have squashed this beef, because it's really big to get a head coach fired. You can't really come back from that if you're the quarterback. They have a lot of power in the locker room. So now everybody's like, okay, if you guys really squash the beef, then Aaron come back and give us one more year. Now, Aaron just turned 42 in December, y'all. I'm just saying. He is not Tom Brady. But don't be surprised if you see him come back another year to play for McCarthy in Pittsburgh. So kudos to Mike McCarthy getting a job with the Steelers. Speaking of really big news, because we're getting ready to start talking about the Hall of Fame nominees, finalists, and all that stuff here shortly. Bill Belichick, who is the head coach of the Carolina Tar Heels football organization right now, and of course, the former Super Bowl winningest head coach in NFL history with the New England Patriots, did not receive enough votes, y'all, for induction into the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Talk about a snub. He needed 40 out of 50 votes. I'm like, how close did he come? Who has he upset? I'm shocked. I thought Bill would be a sure wave in his first year of eligibility. Of course, he's been out of the league for a couple of seasons now. And not only that, this has created a lot of backlash on social media, guys. ESPN's been talking about this. Fox Sports and Sports Illustrated are all talking about the widespread backlash with Tom Brady speaking about it, Robert Kraft and Rob Gronkowski all criticizing this publicly, the snub. Now, the thing is, these votes come from within the league, to my understanding. It's not a fan thing or anything like that. So I'm just still trying to figure out who kept him out. The voters have reportedly wanted Belichick to wait a year, partially due to this whole Spygate, Deflategate legacy concern. So it's so crazy how you just can't overcome one situation. I mean, even though it's not really one, it's Spygate, then it's Deflategate, and then they had the thing with them filming. I guess that is Spygate. Spygate is when they were out watching other people's practices and stuff, and Deflategate with the ball pressure and what have you. And I guess it's like they're still trying to discipline Belichick behind that. And Tom's already basically been disciplined behind that like 10 years ago almost. That's wild. But anyway, he's not going to get in this year, guys, which is really, really unfortunate. So hopefully, he gets in next year. All right. Speaking of, let's look at the class of 2026 finalists, and some more snubs. Go figure. These are the finalist announcements. Tackle Willie Anderson, Drew Brees. Congratulations to him. Yay. Jari Evans, the guard, Larry Fitzgerald. Congratulations to him. Wide receiver, Frank Gore. Yes. Running back, Torrey Holt, wide receiver. And I got to say this one, Luke Kuechly. Woo! Luke. My absolute favorite linebacker of all times. Congratulations to Carolina Panthers on Luke getting it in right away. I'm so proud for him. Eli Manning, another notable name, quarterback, getting in. Terrell Suggs, the offensive linebacker and defensive end, getting in. Adam Vinatieri, you guys remember him? He was the oldest kicker in league history. Absolutely getting it in. And so congratulations to Mr. Vinatieri, Reggie Wayne, the wide receiver, Kevin Williams, the defensive tackle, Jason Witten. Congratulations to him, the tight end, the Cowboy. All right. Darren Woodson, congratulations to him, the safety, and Marshall Yonder, the guard and tackle. Congratulations to all of those gentlemen. Such an honor to be celebrated and to be here in good health and good spirits, to be able to celebrate that with their family and, colleagues, and to be recognized by the league. Now, some senior coaching contributor finalists. We talked about Bill Belichick getting snubbed. He was not elected. A contributor, Robert Kraft, was the contributor. Kenny Anderson and Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood were all the seniors for finalists as well. Major snubs other than Bill Belichick was Eli Manning. He did not get enough of the votes in the very beginning because let me see. Hang on, my notes got crazy there. Did not receive enough votes despite winning 2 Super Bowl MVPs. So those were the finalists that I just named, but Eli is not going to get in. So that's wild. Former Giant quarterback didn't receive enough votes despite 2 Super Bowl wins. So I guess sometimes it comes down to the actual stats and not really wins or whatever. Yeah, B. Yeah, that was very idiotic by the sports writers. Just a lot of drama surrounding this. A little bit of drama, it could be mixed in. All right, let's look at some of the players of the year or breakout players. Let me break them down for you guys. For all these people who we were speaking about who had the highest accolades of this season. What's up, Fern? All right. He said Eli is not first ballot. And listen, he is a Giants fan. He knows Eli. He was there. So he was like, he's not first ballot. So if Fern said that, then hey, he's not first ballot for the Giants. Thank you, Fern, for chiming in. Good to see you, brother. Can't wait to see you on Friday with the fellas. All right, guys. This is a rookie explosion. Even though the draft that we just had was not heavily saturated with some of these pieces, these guys got in and did the work. This is the first team in Super Bowl era with 3 rookies posting 650 plus scrimmage yards each. They are Kyle Monaghay, 947 yards from the Chicago Bears. Colston Loveland from the Chicago Bears, 711 yards. And Luther Burden III from the Chicago Bears, 689 yards. Congratulations to those 3 rookies from the Chicago Bears. Some unsung heroes of the season from the NFC. Starting out with Calais Campbell from the Arizona Cardinals, 6.5 sacks, 28 pressures, and he is 39 years old, y'all, and still getting in. So congratulations to Calais. He's an unsung hero for real. David Onyemata from the Atlanta Falcons, top 10 run defender with 62 tackles. Congratulations to David of the Atlanta Falcons. And Booker from the Bears, again, another Bears. Congrats here. 4.5 sacks in 10 games. Major pass rush boost. So congratulations to them. Now, The 2025 season also had some team MVPs, and you guys probably can guess a couple of them, but let's talk about some of those that you may not know. We'll go through the list according to CBS Sports, who they voted on as team MVPs. They are none other than your Super Bowl contender, Mr. Drake May, quarterback, New England Patriots. This is his second year, guys, and what a leap it has been, leading his team to Super Bowl 60. And a little caveat about Drake, he's originally from Carolina, was a huge Panthers fan. This Super Bowl is going to be in Santa Clara. Super Bowl 50 was in Santa Clara, and Drake said that in that Super Bowl, him and I believe it was his dad went to the Super Bowl and saw the game in person. And how kismet is it that 10 years later, he himself is playing in that same stadium as a quarterback. So kudos to Drake, his wife, his family. Just super proud of that young man. He hit the ground running for real. Another name that you will not be surprised of, one of my favorite players, none other than Atlanta Falcons on Bijan Robinson, 1,478 rushing yards, 820 receiving yards. Bijan is a monster. And you guys know, for him to put up those type of numbers, he has been carrying that team on his back. No doubt the pivotal swift that they needed towards the end of the season to kind of come up and almost end the season at 500. So congratulations to Bijan. Highly decorated on the field as far as getting those accolades out there, and definitely the difference maker for the Atlanta Falcons. This other person, despite a lot of drama going on with this organization, every year his name comes up. It's none other than Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. 3,668 yards this season, 25 touchdowns, and carried an injury depleted roster. It was a shock to see him in the playoffs, y'all, with all those turnovers, because he did not have a history of making turnovers in the postseasons, in the playoffs. But congratulations to him for being, once again, named an MVP by CBS Sports. And to wrap up the MVPs, you cannot do this. This is according to CBS Sports. Carolina Panthers' own cornerback, Mike Jackson, league leader, 19 pass breakups. We've seen it. We saw a lot of turnovers be because of Mike got involved, the cornerback. Thank you so much to you, Mr. Jackson. And looking forward to seeing him on the field next year. Mike Jackson, cornerback, Carolina Panthers. That's the CBS 2025 team MVPs. All right, these are some players, guys, right now that are in free agency, but they are about to really get their money in the end because they got some deals coming their way because of the numbers they put up this season. Number one, George Pickens, Dallas Cowboys. You guys know who he was, difference maker from Pittsburgh, and still a difference maker even in Dallas, 1,429 yards, 9 touchdowns, first Pro Bowl nomination. Congratulations to George. Alec Pierce from the Indianapolis Colts, league leader in yards per catch, 21.3. Big numbers for Alec over there in Indianapolis. And y'all know for a while, everyone was thinking with Jonathan Taylor that they were the team to look out for. But I digress. They were not. But they got it done in the end by getting Alec out there and putting up these big numbers. So congratulations to him. Another name y'all are not going to forget, former New Orleans Saints, now going to the Super Bowl as a Seattle Seahawk. None other than Rashid Shaheed. Big numbers, 95-yard playoff kickoff touchdown, and he's an elite returner throughout the league. He's definitely one of these free agents that's got to be coming up big because of the big plays that he's made. They got to put up the big pockets for him. Congratulations to Rashid Shaheed, the Seattle Seahawks special teams. And we're going back to Atlanta on this one. Mr. Kyle Pitts, Atlanta Falcons, y'all, 88 catches, 928 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a week 15 explosion, which is exactly what I was telling you guys, how Atlanta was able to pivot their season. Despite knowing Raheem was on his way out the door, they swung the pendulum, guys, and watch out for them next season. Hopefully they can override the fact that they got Kevin Stefanski, because I really don't know where that's supposed to benefit them at all. All right, guys, so let's look at some other stuff here. All right, so we do have a very tiny little bit of news going on around the league with other stuff with NBA. No breaking stories really just yet. Just the games. Y'all know everything's just kicking off, and I got my Duke basketball on. You know how we do. It's almost March Madness. I mean, I know it's February, but March is coming up right behind there. There's some trade deadline expectations that are going around, guys. Of course, you guys know about the word with Giannis and just Jimmy Butler, of course, has been down, gonna be down. Jason Tatum still recovering, so that's been a big difference for the Celtics. And just looking at everything overall. All right, so to put it all in perspective, a lot of highlights driven, but what I'm gonna do is go ahead and actually plug in my commercial now so that I can take a quick moment before the halfway mark because we got a lot of stuff to still talk about here at the end, and I will be right back.
The God above made you a masterpiece. The vision is clearer, nearer. My God, to thee, learning to lean on his power. Your perspective can be sweet when circumstances are sour. I'm saying. See the vision clearer. Your identity is waiting, and you feel that hope is fading. Just hold on, it's gonna be alright. Trust in God, stand firm and hold tight. It's like that, yeah, yeah. It's like that, yeah, yeah. Meditation, I'm searching for a peace that's not present. I'm searching for feelings of solitude, emotions that's pleasant. Treasure, what did you deem important versus essential? We put our heart and soul in every line behind instrumentals. Coincidental? I think not. God's plan from the very beginning. Create the type of music that make people think twice before sinning. Pleading, Holy Father, please forgive my trespasses. Confusing things we want for things we need in life. I must have. Selfish, inconsiderate, narcissistic people. Christ died for all the world, so there is power in Jesus. Issues happen, disagreements, dissensions, distortions. This fallen flesh, we still forget sometimes that God is our portion. Forcing, others won't cut it, nor manipulation. One thing that's very destructive is self-righteous behavior. Satan, he's crafty, throwing darts like Bailey's.
All right, guys, I am back. Thank you so much for that. Your girl been a little under the weather, so I had a whole coughing break and I could feel it coming. So thank you guys for hanging in there. Shout out to my niece Pearson. You guys saw her stuff. She is doing the final weeks of her scholarship push for a Jabberwock. And of course, all money she raises, she keeps in Delta Sigma Theta. If she wins by raising the most money, they will match her donation. So congratulations in advance to you, Pearson, and good luck on your campaign. And thank you so much to all of you who have so graciously donated, supported all of her stuff she has going on for that, and supporting the show. Thank you guys so much. All right, let's talk about some other coaching hires now that we've gone through the notables. The Ravens actually hired the former Chargers defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, as their head coach after firing John Harbaugh. And I'm sure you guys knew that, but he then went on to land the Giants head coaching job Harbaugh did. So my question is, because I know Fern is still on here, do you guys think that will really be a difference maker in the way that the Giants, they got the pieces there, they have a new rookie there, but do you guys think it's too soon to basically call out the fact that they could turn their season around now? Or would it probably be a little bit later? Hello, Nathan. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Just chime in with your comments, especially all of you all who are in the NFC East. I'm very interested to know what your thoughts are on this because I'm not completely sold on a defensive coordinator taking over for John Harbaugh in Baltimore. I mean, they were heavily gifted with the offense. So it's a little tricky. I would think you would have hired an offensive coordinator, especially for Isaiah Likely, for Lamar Jackson, for Derrick Henry, because everybody knows that the Ravens are heavily front-centered for the offense. So it's a little tricky to think why you would bring in a DC, but maybe someone knows that I don't specifically know or can explain it to me in the comments. We're live right now, so please feel free to come on in and say hello and drop your comments. All right, next, the Lions, the Detroit Lions, they added Mike Kafka as a high-ranking offensive assistant after his stint as the Giants interim coach. Lions, I'm so confused. Your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator both leave last year to take head coaching jobs. I wondered when it would show up. I honestly thought maybe, we wouldn't see it because The Lions have such a solid roster, and they played despite being injured and still were 15-2 the season that they were injured. But anytime both sides of the ball, everybody leaves, you're going to see it at some point. And we saw it later because they just finished at 500 at the end of the season, 8-8. But now you're hiring someone from the Giants. The Giants who won 4 games, that Giants, like I'm just not I'm trying to figure out what's going on, because I don't want to hear next season that Dan Quinn has been relinquished because of poor coaching hires that we're hearing about right now, like now. Because anybody's fair game. Once you see John Harbaugh go down, I was like, you know what? And perhaps that's why Mike Tomlin was like, you know what? I'm going to step down. The Steelers do not have a history of terminating anybody. They have had 3 coaches in the last 50 years. And Mike Tomlin was almost at 20-year mark. This would have been his 20th year if he stayed this year. He stepped down. They gave him that opportunity to step down. And those are going to be big shoes to fill. Not because Pittsburgh is just playing lights out, but it's because they have this reputation of never missing the playoffs. I like to phrase it the way it is. They say never had a losing season. Okay, but you haven't had really a winning season because you've gone into the playoffs and you're eliminated like the first week, the wild card usually. But however way they want to phrase it, Steelers fans, to hear them tell it, they got 60 rings. Yes, not 60. So it doesn't matter. But I'm saying it does matter. Phrasing matters. Words matter. So, it just doesn't make sense to me right now how some of these coaching hires are going when you look at the organization and you look at how the teams were. And to be honest, I'm going to back up to the Bills in just a second. Okay, yeah, B said he was the DC for Baltimore and a DC in Michigan. Okay. Connections there. That makes a lot of sense when you're talking about familiarity and things like that. I got you, B. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for that comment. I don't know how you feel Sean McDermott's shoes in Buffalo. Josh Allen, the quarterback, had a solid relationship with him. The rest of the players have expressed sincere grief after seeing that he was fired. The owner goes in and says he fires him because he saw his quarterback crying after the playoffs loss. They're going to be crying. But you fire your coach who was 1 game away from basically going to the big dance. And he didn't get eliminated, but they got greedy. The NFL is a win now mentality. And everybody has been saying there's no Lamar Jackson. I know we're saying this ad nauseum, like all the time. There's no Patrick Mahomes. So he should have won. He has no competition. He should be going to the Super Bowl and he should be winning. It shouldn't be the Patriots. You counted Denver out. You didn't think Denver was going to step up. And you probably didn't even think about second year Drake May coming out the rankings smoking and doing it. You didn't think that. You thought there was no competition in AFC, and because you were looking at the AFC North pretty much, and you were tricked. Or you were looking at the AFC West and you were still tricked. And so your resolve is to terminate Sean McDermott, and big shoes to fill. I don't expect to see them in the playoffs next season after such a big loss to that. It just makes 0 sense. It makes 0 sense at all. So you gotta think about how people come into the league, how people actually, the experiences they have, the connections they have, because sometimes it is who you know, and they don't always look at it for meshing of talent. So there's going to be that learning curve there. I mean, go figure. Sometimes you see the anomaly and it's not, and people blow it up and, they make it happen. But there you have it. All right. So the Commanders, they hired defensive back coach Durante Jones as their DC. Now, I'm a little leery of positions that are coordinators, not that are not. So if it's less than a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator, I'm always leery of these positions that come into like, okay, now they're going to be like akin to the OC or the DC or the head coach. Because a defensive back coach, I guess I would look at him making more of a, I don't know, maybe another lateral move, maybe another coordinator, but not the offensive coordinator, not the defensive coordinator. So the verdict is out. Y'all know I like to always say that the verdict is out on what happens with Washington. The Jets, okay, they have interviewed multiple offensive coordinator candidates. And once again, it's kind of like you guys, most of y'all probably don't remember back in the day, they had cassettes. It's like a cassette on rewind. Or I should just say, today, your DVR on pause and a replay. The encore presentation. They are resetting their offense again. I really don't know what the solution is for the Jets. I just don't know. Like, I don't see them being competitive. They had a few games that it looked like they may win, including when they beat Atlanta. But then they go right back down to the drawing board. I don't know. All right. So if you look at all these coaching hires, you are trying to basically figure out who plugs in where. I just feel like this. Don't nobody need to move from the Carolina Panthers. Please don't move nobody. Our defensive coordinator had been going around getting interviewed for head coaching jobs. He had a couple of head coaching jobs, interviews, and I was just like, please don't hire him. Like, not now. Please let us get one more season with everybody in place, please. And then y'all can have at it. We need to literally keep our people, because we were moving around every other year for we had 6 coaches, you guys, in 3 years' time after Ron Rivera. It was a mess. This is the quietest season that I have experienced in the last 7 years, as far as intermeddling by upper management, owners, what have you, into decisions with coaching and hiring and drafting and all that stuff. And it really is, sometimes the owners, they pay other people for that, for the recruitment. Stay out of it as an owner. If you know you're just Daddy Warbucks or Mama Warbucks or whoever, just pay the right people to get your recruitment. Don't you get involved, and definitely don't be out there throwing drinks and getting into it with fans over a poor decision that you had a part to do with. I'm just saying. All right, so let's talk about the Super Bowl matchup, guys. So this week we have Sunday off. They'll give you guys a reset February the 8th. Can you guys believe, like, one weekend is going to already be the 8th? So this Sunday is the 1st. The next Sunday is the 8th. Like, February already is a very short month. But so right around 2 weeks from now, the Seattle Seahawks will be playing the New England Patriots. In Santa Clara, you guys know this is going to be, the Patriots are, this is what's crazy. The Patriots are 4.5-point underdog versus Seattle. And they're saying they think that the score is going to be comparable of 45.5 points for both teams. So they're thinking that both these teams going to put up at least 22 points, both of these teams. But in the end, they say that they feel like New England's going to lose. And I'm wondering, because let's be clear, Seattle is literally playing lights out. I think now it's safe to say that the Sam Darnold of old is gone. He's dead. Like, you see him in different positions over the years, starting with the Jets, going to the Panthers, was with the Vikings for a little bit. I can't remember which Midwest team he was with, one of the NFC West teams, and now he's with Seattle. And he's the only quarterback with 3 different teams to go like 13-4 or whatever. So he's putting numbers up. But their offense is wicked. And I mean, Charbonnet didn't even play the last game, and they still were just off. They were unstoppable. I mean, the game, the Rams held in there. But I knew, because I had seen the way the Rams played throughout the season, even though the NFL knows that when it's the postseason, you know, everybody plays differently. They got to win to stay in. So, and that's the big game. Like, they seriously wanted it. And in case you guys don't know, this is a rematch of Super Bowl 49 The Patriots and the Seahawks were in Super Bowl 49, almost that 10-year mark. Patriots were there 10 years ago. So go figure, they were in 49 and 50. That literally just clicked on me while I'm telling you guys. They were in 50 against my Panthers, and they were in 49 against Seattle. So kudos to them. Let's see, we got some comments here. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much for saying you like watching my show. Thank you guys. All right, some people's comments is coming down because they being a little too out there. Anyway, so you just have to think about it like that, where everybody's coming from, this, that, and the third. But anyway, Patriots are 4.5 underdogs. So I would have probably thought maybe 3 points, but they're saying at least a touchdown, y'all. So 4.5 is like a safety and a field goal to get that to happen. So it's more than a field goal. All right, but listen here. Quarterback Drake May, this is one of the big storylines from the Patriots. He's a former high draft pick, now leading New England to their Super Bowl. Fox Sports is actually tracking his injury report status heading into the game. Something about his health, they haven't really fully come out with it right now. He's dealing with some type of injury. I do know these players are all banged up. I'm actually going to see real quick if I can't find out what kind of injury he has, and just let me just look right now, because that's the first I've heard of that. I know that sometimes players are hurt, they play through the injury. Look at Bo Nix, no one even knew that was happening. And so it's very important. All right, so Drake May is actually dealing with a right shoulder injury. But it's every credible report says he's expected to play in the Super Bowl, and the injury is not considered to be serious. He has been listed as limited on the practice list for this week, y'all. But both him and the team say that he's feeling pretty good. That the limitations that he has been on for this week are just precautionary. Let me tell you guys a little bit about the backdrop of this injury. Apparently, it just appeared today. Like, he just appeared on their projected injury report today with this right shoulder injury. And I know how that is. I can't even imagine being an athlete with an injured shoulder. That's his throwing shoulder. He didn't practice today. But if the team didn't practice today, but if they did, he would have been on the DNP, did not practice, or limited list. This confirms he's not 100%, but he's also not sidelined. The injury basically happened because he was already dealing with this as a little aggravated issue in the AFC Championship game. And the physicality of that match actually aggravated and made it even more noted for him. He took a hit from the Denver safety, Talanoa Hufanga. And you guys probably saw that play. They actually talked about it for a quick second. He landed right on his right side, which didn't help the existed soreness. In multiple interviews, of course, he's saying he feels good. He's definitely excited about being able to play in the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel, the head coach. Kudos to Mike Vrabel. Hold on, I'll come back to that. He's been intentionally vague about this situation. He literally was like, I wouldn't say anybody heard anything. Nobody's 100% this time of year. Just kind of throwing the media off. But independent sports medicine analysts are flagging the shoulder early because they're saying the Patriots literally waited until now to confirm this. And so basically, by it coming to light now, it's kind of like, all right, you're limiting his reps. It's because he's limited in the throwing. So that's pretty much what it is. But mind over matter. He's going to play in the Super Bowl. He's going to be playing in a limited capacity. No report says he's in danger of missing the game, and the Patriots are simply managing his workload so that he can kind of rest up this week. He is an MVP finalist, guys, completing 72% of passes for 4,394 yards and 31 touchdowns as a second-year quarterback. Even a slightly limited May is still a major factor in the New England's offense. So we definitely hope that he gets better soon. Let me plug in the Mike Vrabel thing I want to tell you guys about real quick. Let me take a drink on this one. Let me drink my water because I'm telling y'all, to know that Mike Vrabel came from the dumpster fire Tennessee Titans, and in his first year as the coach. He's not in his second year like Drake May is. This is his first year. Mike Vrabel took the New England Patriots to the AFC Championship. First, he took them to the top of the division, to the AFC Championship. They eliminated Denver, the number one seed. They were the number two seed in the AFC. They went all the way to Denver in that blizzard. If y'all watched that game, you could tell it was cold. On my Friday show, I actually talked about that. I said, guys, they're talking about weather may be a factor. But when the game came on, I was like, okay, maybe, the weatherman can be wrong every day and still keep their job because you just cannot 100% predict the weather. I was like, okay, it's probably cold, but I don't see anything. Y'all, the third quarter, it started snowing and it was just like a little bit of flurries. And in the fourth quarter, it looked like a full out blizzard. They literally showed like the top of the stadium and everything. It literally looked like real Denver. But they're from New England. They're used to that. But they played in all of that with limited visibility and in the mile high. So with the altitude, and they left there with the dub. And to know that they normally don't travel well, they didn't have the best of records with traveling. They did it when it counted. So Mike Vrabel coming there, doing that, and getting those guys now in Super Bowl 60 is nothing short of amazing. He definitely should be coach of the year in my book, because he definitely did that. So congratulations to him. Let me see. Let me go back around here. Let me go back to where I was, because I was talking about Drake May and this game. All right, so when we look at the Patriots basically going back, this is the crazy thing. Now that the Patriots are back, everybody's back to this dynasty talk that, they always want to talk about the Patriots and the dynasty, da 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 da. All right, let's be clear. This is really early for them to be talking about dynasty with the Patriots, but maybe the Patriots overall. You got to talk about the Steelers. You got to talk about the Cowboys, Patriots, Chiefs, and basically where the new Patriots team fits in amongst all those others who already have set the records for all the wins they got. And let's not count out San Francisco because they've got 5. They're on the quest for 6 at some point. Seattle is back on the big stage, however, though, guys, with a physical defense and an explosive offense. And that's what makes them so tough to beat. I'm going to be honest with you. They probably will win the Super Bowl, even though I really hope the Patriots do, because I just had the mindset if my NFC team can't win, then why should any NFC team win? I'm petty. I know. But a part of me is like, okay, it's Sam Darnold. He's a former Panther. I do tend to root for teams that have former Panthers on them because, like Christian McCaffrey, I would have rooted for the 49ers. But yeah, when you got both sides of the ball locked like that, I think it's going to be much bigger than 4 points. And especially now knowing that Drake May has this shoulder injury. They're going to give him his cortisone shots or what have you, and they're going to tape him up. But the weather is going to be cold, I'm sure. It's going to be cold this weekend. I'm pretty sure, like, this is February coming into it. It's really cold at time of year there. So cold tends to aggravate injuries or what have you. But Seattle's there. They're literally comparing them to that 2014 team, guys, the Legion of Boom, with Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, Richard Sherman. You guys know that whole squad. Just a lot of people were on that team that everyone talked about. But the identity, the coaching, and the fact that honestly, this team is considered more highly offensive than the Legion of Boom was. So go figure. And congratulations to Rashid Shaheed who got on there because now he's in the Super Bowl, as opposed to when he came from the NFC South. So, yeah. All right, the bold predictions about the Super Bowl. They're basically saying Sam Darnold is going to play lights out. They're looking for him to be the MVP of the Super Bowl. He may be looking at some places where he's a backup gadget or even specific packages they're running during the plays. The X factor about the jumping off is basically any backup quarterbacks that may come in, special teams, the weather, like I've already talked to you guys about, and coaching decisions. Y'all know a lot of coaches have been put in the hot water as of late because they have not challenged. Like we'll be sitting there like, wait a minute, you're really not going to throw a flag on that, or you're not going to call a timeout to prevent the 10-second runoff. Like, you're just all these horrible things. And sometimes we see the quarterback does go against the coach. So perhaps the coach did make a call and the quarterback decided to play a different route or to go a different route. And so you just never know how that looked in the end. All right, so let's see if we get ready to wrap up here. Ooh. The Broncos quarterback coach, David Webb, QB's coach. Yeah, David Webb. Now that they're at home, he's interviewing for a Bills and Raiders head coaching job, showing how fast young coaches are being elevated. So I guess if Dayball doesn't take the Raiders position and he goes to the Titans as their OC, then maybe Davis Webb will go. I don't even know who he is. I'm sorry, guys. That's why I was just like, what? Seattle cornerback, going into the Super Bowl, Tariq Woolen. You guys remember he taunted literally all on the sideline of the Rams last week, just talking cold mess. Literally, like the only Seahawk over there, like all the way out of pocket. He addressed the taunting penalty versus the Rams, basically saying he has to be better. Yeah, you could have cost your team the game, bro. Good example of how discipline and emotion become huge in playoff games. And y'all may not know this, but Phillip Rivers, who y'all know came back and played a couple of hands with the Colts right before his 5 years of being out because he hadn't played since 2020, he threw his name in the hat for the Bills head coaching position. But he's recently withdrawn his name now, which basically, I guess he like, dude, they were going to hire Brady regardless. I don't even know why you would take your name out of there, but he did. And now, as I mentioned earlier, Joe Brady is the new coach. So let me ask you guys this as I get ready to wrap up here. The coaching carousel, and I've actually been saying that, but that's actually a term. There was a lot of coaches that were out of there. You guys know Mike McDaniel from Miami. Like, I mean, just a lot of coaches that it was crazy. I really just keep going back to Kevin Stefanski coming to Atlanta. This is just my thought. Kevin did not have as many wins as Raheem Morris. He had a whole lot of drama around Shador. Prim used to play in Atlanta. Atlanta is one of the most culturally diverse and, pro-Black cities in America. And Kevin Stefanski has just had this ongoing issue with high-profile athletes behind the whole Shador thing. I don't know if I feel like he'll make a difference. I feel like maybe if the team themselves takes to him, and it also depends, do they bring back Michael Penix for the starting QB position once he's recovered? Or do you let Kirk continue to play for whatever he was playing for? He's already been paid. And you tell Penix, just sit for a little bit. Next thing you know, Kirk's winning the games and the Falcons are back where they want to be. Like, what do you do in that position? And then you got to think about it. The South is going to be really competitive next season. Baker Mayfield may have taken a small topping off the top shelf, but don't think of him as being completely plummeted out. He's not. Then you got to look at the New Orleans Saints. Tyler Shuck was a difference maker. Whoever decided to start Spencer Rattler, I wish they had at least, and I've been saying this the whole time, I wish they had at least kept him as a starting QB, at least for one of the Panthers games, so we could have won, at least the one at home. Once they put Shuck in, New Orleans' entire dimension was changed. And let's not forget, they got gifted their head coach from the Detroit Lions. Aaron Glenn is in New York with the Jets. He doesn't have the talent that New Orleans has had. They've just been sitting there. They have been sitting there cooking and waiting, and now they're going to be competitive for the NFC South. So the Panthers got a lot of work to do. That's why I was like, Panthers, please don't move any people. We need to keep everybody coaches. I don't care if it's Sir Purr, the water boy, the people that mark the lines on the field, whoever it is, whatever they do for the Panthers, keep them there because we don't need to do any shifting during the off season except for adding additional talent. But who you guys got in the Super Bowl? Now, Friday night, of course, myself and the guys will probably let's see, we'll actually have time to talk about this right before the Super Bowl. So we may not talk about it as much because we'll probably talk about it on the Friday, February 6th episode because that's right before the Super Bowl. But you guys can tell me, who are you all? Do you have a team in the Super Bowl? Are you excited to see the Super Bowl? And who you guys have picked to win the Super Bowl? Do you guys think everybody's right about the Seahawks? And do you think even if Drake May wasn't really limited, would it still be the same narrative? Like the fact that May is coming out saying that he's not feeling well with his shoulder, would it have made a difference? Because after all, some people counted the Patriots out a little bit against the Broncos. They were like, oh, they got to go to Mile High. The weather's going to be bad. I think I was one of them. I think I actually said, even though I wanted the Patriots to win, I felt like it was going to be difficult. And then kind of find out they literally got to Denver the day before the game. So to go by Coastal is extremely difficult. The time change, all this, that, and the third. But they pulled it off, guys. It was not pretty, but they pulled it off. And so as you say, that's how the cookie crumbles. Let me just make sure I don't have any more closing news, guys, before I wrap up. Let me see. I will say this. It's been out, like people have been wondering if Mike Tomlin will take a season off and then come back like next season, right? And I think it just depends. Excuse me. I think it just depends. He's been coaching a really long time. He is the longest tenured coach in this modern era. And to be away from your family, to be away from your friends and the things you really like to do, 20 years is a long time. Not only that, coaches don't just work during the season. They're working literally year round because they got to have meetings about, they're looking at talent. They're, looking at guys that are already in college that may enter the draft. Like it's a lot that goes into that. So it's never an off button for them. They literally are like akin to like how doctors are always on call. These guys are always vigilant and they're always busy. So his wife owns a shop in Pittsburgh. I saw a whole article a couple of weeks ago about it. I didn't even know this. She has a shop that is customized fan gear. It started out like Steelers stuff for women and things like that. Now it's like you can get anything. Like I think it's all women oriented, but like all types of blouses, like things that are not just like, it's not jersey at all. It's just like nice, beautiful clothing that she customizes for that team. So now he can spend time with her. They were in Georgia a couple of weekends ago because I didn't know his daughter goes to college here. And she had a gymnast competition. And who was there? Mike and his wife. So he's available now for family commitments. That's not always the case because you guys know when you are a coach in that type of position, that is your first responsibility. That's what, as they say, that's how y'all eat. So, yeah. All right, let's wrap up some NBA news here before I hop off. I will plug some of that in. Igor Demin is chasing NBA rookie history. He actually, the Brooklyn Nets rookie, has tied the all-time rookie record for most consecutive games with a made three-pointer, 33. Congratulations to him. Matching Rudy Fernandez and Landry Shamet, who can actually break the record in his next game versus Denver. He's shooting 39.7% from three this season. He's made 98 made threes in the first 40 games, and he's second most in NBA history for a rookie at that point. So he's selected for the 2026 NBA Rising Stars event. So congratulations to him. NBA MVP ladder is climbing. They got some candidates for the MVP rankings. No change for the top four, but major movement from the bottom 5 through 10. The number 5, I'll just start with the number 5 and go. Number 5 is Tyrese Maxey from Philadelphia. Number 4, Victor Wembanyama. You guys call him Wemby. Um, Dominant two-way impact. Luca, of course, always up there in the talks. Number 3. Number 2, Nikola Jokic out of Denver. Hyperextended knee, still playing, guys, and still near triple double digits. So, like, you cannot underestimate that guy. And number 1, SGA, Shea Gilgeous Alexander, OKC's very own, the real Thunder. Still a front runner, multiple 40-point games. OKC is near the top of the West because of the contributions made by SGA. A lot of games this weekend, y'all, are being postponed because we're supposed to be getting snow again, guys. A freak again. Atlanta's predicted to get 30% chance of snow on Saturday. I don't know, because last week we just got like a little bit of shards of ice in my backyard and they shut everything down. I mean, we have to, y'all look it up. 2014 snowpocalypse. We have to be proactive down here. I mean, I saw snow trucks. I was like, come on, y'all. But the Carolinas did get a lot in the Charlotte, Raleigh area. They got some real pretty stuff. So kudos to them. Major winter storm, though, guys, come back for Sunday. Actually, this Sunday coming up. 2 games are going to be postponed. The Mavericks versus the Bucks in Milwaukee, and the Nuggets versus the Grizzlies in Memphis is going to be postponed because those areas are supposed to be impacted really bad by this massive cyclone of a winter storm because travel's unsafe. The 76ers versus the Hornets were moved to 3 p.m. That's in Charlotte. And the Pacers versus the Hawks here in Atlanta is moved to 1:30 because of the storm impacting. All right, guys. That's all I have. I hope you guys have a great night. If you're watching the replay, comment there as well. And I will see you guys on Friday with the fellas. Good night.